The quiet hum of the deep space listening station, Zareth 12, echoed like a lonely wind through its metal halls. Floating near the edge of a dark, forbidden region in space, the alien crew of the listening host sat at their stations, half bored. Half-alert. Operator Varn, a tall, four-eyed Zelari, tapped the screen lazily. The signal boards were mostly empty, just cold static from distant stars. Then suddenly, his screen flickered. A red dot blinked once, then again. Then it became solid. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Varn said, his voice uncertain. "Captain." Tylex floated over. His long tendrils stiffened slightly as he saw the frequency. "Human band," Tylex muttered. "From ... The dark sector?" Varn nodded. "Coordinates match. The area humans call the Dead Jedge. Everyone in the station stopped moving. That region was considered cursed. Dangerous. Many ships avoided it, even pirates. Humans, of course, had sent an exploration vessel there anyway. Typical. The screen showed nothing at first. Just a long hiss of static. Then a voice. Hello? Horizon to any station. Please respond." The human voice was male. Tired. Nervous. The crew leaned in. "We're in trouble." "Something's wrong. We're not alone out here. We think something ... got in." Static. A beat. Then the voice came again, louder this time. "Faster. Afraid. It's inside the ship. We locked the labs, but it's learning. No." A scream. Loud, terrified. Human. Then silence. The signal ended. Captain Tylex stood, frozen. His crew looked at each other, waiting for someone to say something. "What ... was that?" whispered a young tech. Varn tapped the console again. "That ship ... It was the Horizon, right? A human science vessel. It left 3 weeks ago. For deep scans. And now?" Tylex asked. "No signal. No movement. Just ... gone." The crew of Zareth 12 sat in silence for several seconds. Then Tylex gave the order. "Alert the Galactic Council." 2 days later, Council Core World Orbit. The Galactic Council chambers were filled with noise multiple species, arguing at once. They faked the signal. Shouted a Gore's commander. A human trick to hide illegal tech. "No," said a quiet voice. "That scream was real." Everyone turned. Ambassador Raylon of the Kyrene Alliance spoke softly. "My people know pain. That scream was not acted." Other voices joined in. A new weapon? Did they find something ancient? Why did Earth send a ship there at all? Then the human representative finally arrived. She wore a dark suit. Her face was pale but calm. She said only one sentence. "Do not go after them. We warned them." The chamber went quiet. Whispers followed her words like a cold wind. What did they find? Who did they meet? Why won't Earth help? Recover the crew? The humans left the meeting without further answer. Back on Zareth 12, Varn replayed the message again and again. The scream haunted him. He paused the audio and zoomed into the final frame of the video a flicker, just before. The signal died. In that flicker, barely visible, was a shadow behind the screaming man. Tall, thin, not human. Eyes ... glowing. Galactic Council gathered in emergency session. Representatives from every major species Zelvins, Orkai, Serati, and more filled the Great Hall on Nirith Prime. The screens showed the last signal from the human ship, Horizon. Static. And the scream again. Echoing. Counselor Veltok of the Orkai shivered. His kind were warriors, bred for battle, but that scream haunted him. It could be a trick, Counselor Linari of the Serati hissed. A human tactic to keep us away from the edge sector. But Admiral Yaros, the human representative, stood. Calmly, his face was hard, his voice cold. We warned your explorers to stay away from Sector Z58. It's been quarantined for a reason. Veltok slammed a heavy fist on the table. You never told us why. Yarrow simply replied, because. No one ever came back. The silence in the hall grew heavy. Aboard the Zarnak scout ship Seekerin, Captain Thalos received new orders from the Council. Investigate the Horizon's last location. Risk level. Extreme. The mission log stated. Thalos stared at the coordinates. They led to a dead zone. No stars. No readings. Just darkness. His second officer, Gel, whispered, Captain, even the machines won't scan it. It's like that space doesn't want to be seen. Thalos nodded slowly. Prepare the crew. We go at dawn cycle. Back on Earth, a different meeting was held. This one hidden beneath the surface of Antarctica. Inside a black facility called the Vault. Only a few knew about it. Inside, old scientists and scarred admirals watched the same screenplay again, but they were not shocked. One of them, Dr. Alia Hayes, leaned forward. They found it, didn't they? She asked. Admiral Cross replied, they went too deep. They touched the edge. Dr. Hayes whispered, we locked that place for a reason. Before even the Council was formed. Before the stars were mapped. Cross nodded. And now the galaxy is curious. The Zarnik ship entered the edge sector. It was silent. Even the stars behind them seemed to dim. Not suddenly. Sensors picked up debris. Thalos leaned over. Metal fragments. Human. Identified as Horizon. They slowed their ship and used a drone to collect parts. Some were melted. Others were clawed-like, torn by something alive. Gel turned pale. There are no life signs. But we're getting a new signal. The bridge fell quiet. Then the screen played again. But this time, it was longer. More words. A whisper came through. It's not dead. It's learning. Thalos stood. Reverse course. Now. But it was too late. The lights dimmed. Engines flickered. And then something answered the scream. A low, inhuman voice came through the com, speaking in perfect Zarnak language. Why did you follow the scream? Gel screamed. The crew began to panic. Shut it off. Thalos shouted. But the voice kept speaking. You were warned. You did not listen. Now we listen to you. The lights turned red. On Earth, alarms triggered inside. The Vault. One of the ancient satellites placed near the Forbidden's edge had just gone offline. Dr. Hayes stood. It's awake again. Admiral Cross nodded grimly. Prepare the countersignal. Back. Aboard the Seekerin, the crew scrambled to get the engines back online. Then the screen lit up, showing an image. A face, human, but twisted. Eyes black. Skin cracked. The image spoke. I was Captain Rowe of the Horizon, but it changed me. Gel backed away. He's infected. Thalos stepped forward. What is it? Rowe replied, not what, where. The darkness is alive. It watches. It waits. The screen cut to static. The lights went out completely, and the screen returned. Only this time, it was not human. Back on Nyrith Prime, Counselor Veltok received a final message from Thalos's ship. It was one word, run. He dropped his communicator. Counselor Linari turned to him. What is it? Veltok whispered. It followed them back. The Virellan vessel Skytrace floated near the edge of the uncharted zone, its silver hull gleaming in the starlight. Inside, Captain Relic adjusted his long coat and stared out of the viewing glass. He wasn't afraid of many things, but this region? This was different. The human ship Horizon had sent its last message from somewhere in this dark sector, and that message had ended in pure horror. Relic turned to his crew. Engines to half. Shields full. No one acts without my order. He said in a firm tone. Yes, Captain, replied his navigator. A young officer named Talai. She stared nervously at the swirling shadows beyond the glass. Are we really going in there? Relic didn't answer. He just nodded once. The skytrace moved slowly forward, scanning the area. No signals, no readings, only a strange silence that seemed to press in on them like a weight dot, but then static. Faint, crackling static buzzed over the comms. Talai looked up. Sir, something's coming through. Relic leaned forward. Put it on speakers. At first, it was just noise. Then a voice. Soft, broken, barely there. Please don't. Let it out. The bridge went silent. The crew exchanged worried glances. It's a human voice, said Talai. But it's not live. It's old. Recorded, maybe. Relic's mind raced. If this was a recording, it had been floating in space all this time, undetected. But how? Why now? Suddenly, the ship jolted. Lights flickered. Systems glitched. Power spike on deck 3. Someone shouted. .RELIK stood. Lock down the deck. Send a team. But before they could move, a deep humming sound echoed through the walls. It wasn't coming from the ship. It was coming from outside. No stars, whispered Talai. Look outside. The stars are gone. Relic turned to the viewing glass, and his breath caught. The stars had vanished, replaced by a swirling black mist. It wasn't fog. It wasn't gas. It was something else. Something alive? Then a sharp beep rang out. Captain, I'm picking up another signal. It's the horizon. Relic snapped his head toward. The crew. Location? Right in front of us, but it's cloaked. I can only see it on subspace radar. Without waiting, Relic ordered, bring it up on screen. A ghostly image flickered onto the main display. Human ship, dead in space. Lights off, engines cold, but it was there. The horizon. Someone whispered, but that ship vanished. Weeks ago, they sent out a scan. Life signs, none. But something strange showed up. A shadow, moving inside the ship, but not shaped like a human. I want a boarding team ready, said Relic. Talai turned. Captain, you're not really going over there, are you? Relic narrowed his eyes. We came to find the truth. We'll find it. Minutes later, the shuttle left the skytrace and slowly approached the horizon. The human ship loomed like a metal corpse. Scorch marks ran down its sides. The entry bay was torn open, as if from the inside. The boarding team, 5 Virellan soldiers. And Relic himself stepped inside. The lights flickered weakly. The air was thin, cold, and silent. Flashlights on, Relic whispered. They moved through dark halls. Human signs were everywhere, gear, notes, food. But no people. Then they found the bridge. Blood smeared the walls. Panels were shattered. A single chair spun slowly in the dead air. Relic approached the command console. A message flashed on the screen. Final log, Captain Mira TAI. He played it. A human woman's face appeared. Pale, sweating, terrified. We found something. In the black zone, she said. It wasn't dead. It wasn't alive either. It knew us. It entered the ship without touching the hull. She looked over her shoulder. We tried to run. It wanted to learn us, use us. It said we were keys. Then the lights behind her went out. She screamed, and the screen cut to black dot just then. Something moved in the darkness behind Relic. Soldiers turned raised weapons. Who's there? Barked one. No answer. Just footsteps. Slow, wet, dragging steps. The air turned freezing. Relic stepped back. His breath visible. Suddenly, the ceiling above burst open. Black tendrils shot down, grabbing one of the soldiers, dragging him upward. Fire! Relic shouted. Blasts lit the corridor. Screens echoed. They ran. One soldier fell behind taken. Only Relic and two made it back to the shuttle. They didn't speak, didn't breathe until they were safely inside Skytrace, below the horizon. Now? Relic ordered. Moments later, the human ship vanished in a bright flash. But as they turned to leave, the black mist followed, because it wasn't the ship that was haunted. It was the void itself. And it was awake. The research vessel, the Varnox. Sight floated near the edge of Sector 90. The crew of 37 aliens, mostly Krivans and Alorans, were silent. Their mission was simple: scan the sector, confirm the horizon was truly lost, and report. But nothing was simple anymore. Captain Lyrak of the Krivans sat in the command chair, staring at the empty black space ahead. The stars looked wrong here. Twisted, dimmer. What are your sensors showing, Dree? No signals, no human ships, no wreckage. Any unusual readings? Lyrak asked. Dree hesitated. Yes, there's a gravity fluctuation, but it doesn't act like a black hole or a neutron star. It's pulsing, like it's breathing. Lyrak's eyes narrowed. Breathing? Captain, shouted another officer. Something just moved near the outer sensor range. Show it, Lyrak said. The screen lit up. At first, it looked like a shadow darker than space itself. It moved without thrusters. Slowly, silently. Wrong. That's not a ship, whispered Dree. The shadow passed through a cluster of ice asteroids. The rocks cracked and shattered. No impact, no heat, just broken. Then a voice came through the comms, static first. Then a human voice. Please don't come here. It watches. We tried. We shouldn't have touched it. Everyone froze. The crew stared at the speakers, horrified. That's from the horizon, Dree whispered. That's the same voice from the original scream. But the horizon is gone, another said. The voice continued, warped and full of pain. It wants minds, thought, fear. It lives on fear. Then the message ended in the same scream, the same one the council had heard weeks ago. Captain Lyrak stood slowly. Record everything. Get ready to leave, now. But before the engines could engage, the lights flickered. The ship's systems stuttered. Every screen went black, except one. A face appeared. Human. Female. It looked like one of the Horizon's crew, but something was wrong with her eyes. They were all black. Empty. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Just a sharp, high-pitched hum that made every crew member clutch their heads. Shut it off. Lyrak shouted. The screen shattered on its own. Power failing. Someone yelled. Then silence. Only the emergency red lights remained, and a sound. Something tapping on the hull. Tap, tap. From the outside. Dree stood up slowly. There's something on the ship. Captain Lyrak drew in a deep breath. Weapons ready, stay calm. But deep down, he knew weapons wouldn't matter. They had come to confirm the horizon was gone. But now they understood. It wasn't gone. It had been taken. And now, whatever took it was here. Red emergency lights pulsed inside the Varnox site. The crew didn't speak. Most of them couldn't. The hum from the black-eyed human's face had affected their minds. A few were bleeding from their ears. Some were just sitting still, staring. Captain Lyrak forced himself to move. Engineering, he called. Respond. Silence. He turned to Dree. The Aloran's eyes were dim. Dree, focus. Are we still drifting? Yes, Captain, Dree said, voice weak. Engines are down. Backup systems flickering. We're dead in the E. Water. And the thing on the hull? Dree turned to the outer cameras. Still there. No clear image. Just movement. Lyrak walked to the viewport. At first, he saw nothing but black space. Then, a faint shimmer like heat waves moving across the hull. Not crawling, sliding. Tap, tap, tap. Again. The sound echoed. From different places now, like it was circling them. It's testing us, Dree whispered. It's learning. How do you know that? Lyric asked. Dree hesitated. I think it's talking to me. The bridge went silent. What do you mean? Lyric asked quietly. It's not speaking like we do. Not words, feelings, fear, memories. It's showing me the horizon, the crew. What happened to them? Lyric stepped forward. Then tell me, what did they find? Dree's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Not a ship, not a weapon, not even a life form in the way we understand. They touched something old, buried in the void between galaxies. A structure, a machine maybe, but it wasn't sleeping. It was watching, waiting. Waiting for what? Lyric asked. For minds, for thought, for contact. And when the humans touched it, it opened. It showed them everything, all their nightmares, every fear, every regret, and it fed on them. Lyric clenched, his jaw. That scream we heard, was that someone dying? Dree slowly shook his head. Worse, that was a human soul tearing apart. It doesn't kill the way we do. It unravels. The ship shuddered. Lights dimmed further. Then, from the main screen, the stars vanished. Total blackness. No ship systems. No coordinates, no starlight. Just one word scrawled across the center of the display, glowing in deep red. More. Lyric backed away. It wants us next. A voice raw and cracking sounded from the hallway behind the bridge. Captain. They turned. It was a Krivan technician. His eyes were bleeding. He held up a comms device. I got a signal out. Short burst. Distress ping. But, Captain, something. Replied. Lyric stepped forward. What replied? The technician held out the device. A human voice crackled through. Hold position. Do not engage. Repeat, do not fight it. Reinforcements en route. Everyone stared. Lyric frowned. Human military? No. Dree whispered, eyes wide. That voice. It was the Horizon's captain. He's supposed to be dead. Before anyone could answer, the external camera blinked back on. Something massive unseen before now hovered just above the ship, not made of metal. It looked like smoke, ash, bone, and starfire, shifting, impossible shapes, and embedded deep. In its center, a broken human ship. The horizon. Burned, twisted, still alive. Its lights flickered once, and the voice returned. We brought it back with us, but now it wears us. To be continued. In Part 6. The rescue ship. Daring. Star moved slowly through the shadows of the dead zone. Captain Renzo sat in his command chair, staring at the dark. All systems quiet? He asked. Quiet, sir, replied the sensor officer. Too quiet. No signals. No light. Just that heavy silence. The alien diplomat, Selrix of the Zalari, stepped onto the bridge. This place. It's wrong, he said. I feel something pressing on my mind. Renzo didn't reply. He agreed, but didn't want to say it out. Loud. Fear had weight here. A signal in the darkness. Suddenly, the comms officer gasped. Captain! I've picked something up. Weak signal. Audio only. Renzo stood. Put it on. Static at first. Then a faint voice. Human. This is Dr. Ilara Mays. If anyone hears this, stay away. It feeds on screech. An inhuman metallic scream shattered the silence. The bridge lights flickered. Everyone covered their ears. And silence. Again. The signal died. Serix whispered, That wasn't human. No, Renzo said. And that wasn't interference either. boarding the horizon they found. The horizon floating, lifeless, lights, flickering like dying stars. No power signature. No movement. The boarding team suited up. 4 humans, 2 aliens. Weapons ready. As they docked, the entry tunnel creaked. Ice covered the metal walls. A strange frost had grown in shapes that looked organic, like veins. Inside the ship, darkness ruled. Their helmets lit only a few feet ahead. Every corridor felt wrong. Dr. Hana, the science officer, spoke through the comms. This ship isn't just dead. It's been drained. Something pulled the energy out. The lab door. They reached the main lab. The door was sealed shut. Burn marks lined the frame. As if someone tried to keep something in. They forced it open. Inside, chaos. Blood. Claw marks on the floor. Scorch marks on the walls. And at the far end, a message written on the wall in shaky human handwriting. It mimics. Don't trust the voice. Kill the lights. Everyone stared. Then a soft noise behind them. They turned fast. Weapons up. Nothing. Too late. One of the team, Corporal Veers, shook his head. Something's here, watching us. Renzo looked to Hana. Record everything. We need to leave soon. They found one working data pad. A video log. It showed Dr. Alara Mays speaking quickly. It got into Ensign Troy. Wore his skin? We didn't know until it spoke. Wrong voice, wrong eyes. When we turned the lights on, it screamed. She held up a hand. Her fingers were shaking. It lives in the dark. The scream you heard? That was me, watching it become him. The video ended with her screaming and running. Then black. A whisper in the ear suddenly. One of the alien team members, Creel, screamed. He fired his blaster wildly down a hallway. What did you see? Renzo yelled. I heard my brother's voice. But he died years ago. Creel fell to the ground, sobbing. Selric stepped back. Captain, this thing, it's not just physical. It invades the mind. Then the lights flickered, and someone else's voice came through the COMMs. It was Captain Renzo's own voice. But he hadn't spoken. The real Renzo whispered, "Run." Fleeing the ship, the team ran back to the docking point. One didn't make it. The alien officer, Nezri, was pulled into the shadows by something fast, gone in a blink. The rest reached the ship. Slamming the airlock closed. Inside the daring star, alarms rang. Something had followed them. They turned and saw Creel, standing still, too still, eyes glowing slightly in the dark. Selric raised his weapon. That's not him. Creel spoke. In Dr. Alara's voice. Then in Renzo's. Then in a scream not from this universe.